Hello friends, welcome back. In my last short video, I was talking about justice as propounded by John Rawls. But the idea of justice has, as I said in the previous video, an interesting history, an interesting etymology, to speak. And one of them who mooted this idea, not necessarily with the same term, is Immanuel Kant. Immanuel Kant is one of the 17th, 18th centuries most Anglican philosophers. He wrote extensively on morality. This is one of this book. He spoke on the grounds of morality. We won't go into this book as we have just a couple of minutes in our hands. But how does it help us to understand the justice, an idea to which we made a reference in the previous lecture? We spoke about universality, how rights, efficiency, and democratic equality should be rooted in the principle of universality. But the other important thing about the universality and the equality is our understanding of law. It's quite a thick description. I'm not going to bore you with all this, but a couple of basic questions. What is law and how do we understand, and why law becomes such a beckoning question? One of the problems we seem to be encountering with law is its conflict with morality. Immanuel Kant has an interesting answer to that question. Do law and morality conflict with each other? And if so, why? And how do we resolve? And most of the time, we seem to be having this question at the back of our mind. And my mother is dying in the hospital. I have to reach her in the next 10 minutes. And I therefore don't care about the red light. I am morally right, but legally wrong. How do you answer these questions? As simple as that. Kant would say one of the things about the laws is the laws are so compartmentalized. The laws have to be universal. And when he says universal, he has quite a different notion in mind. And we have to move a bit further. You would really respect a law as a universal only when it comes from within you. Yes, that might look a little strange. Universal, but coming from within ourselves. The law becomes universal not because it is simply applicable to everybody or given above by someone else, but a universal law, is something that you make to yourself, but you respect it without fail. And this law is something that maximizes your benefit but does not harm anyone. And if everyone can true to himself or herself, and that is a universal, that becomes a universal principle. It becomes universal simply because it is evolved by everyone, the common understanding of what he really needs, and but The principle being that what he needs does not become an impairment for someone else. That would be possible if law and morality can be clubbed together. That's exactly where he has a practical answer to that question. The answer is law and morality can never and should never remain separate. But that would be possible only if the law comes from the individual who is supposed to follow it. And most of the time, the conflict between morality and law has become such an imminent one simply because the laws are given by someone else and we have our own moralities. But what if every individual evolves for himself a law that is compatible with his own morality, rather legalizes his own morality, and that would lead us to rationality? The problem with economics is that they said we are all rational human beings, but then they stop there. Kant has an answer to it. You travel beyond the market rationality and combine it with morality and your universal law. And if you can make these three compatible with each other, which at the outset don't seem to be compatible to us to a naked eye, but Kant would argue otherwise, and it is then possible to have a universal law. And most important of all, it is possible for each one to imbibe by the values, because each value comes from his or her own experience, and tag it to this theory of justice John Rawls was talking about almost 200 or 300 years after Kant, and there is a huge resonance between the both. That might probably be for another time, but thank you for watching.